What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers, and they are out of Framingham, Massachusetts, and this is their Smoke and Dagger. So they're calling this one a black lager that comes in at 5.6% alcohol by volume, 25 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just under 8 months old. So full disclosure, I've had this one before one time back in 2013, and I really enjoyed it. Now, despite the fact they call this one a black lager, this is technically like a smoked black lager. The name is Smoke and Dagger, and they kind of reference this one as like a hybrid of like a smoked beer, whether it's a smoked porter or a Rauchbier, and a black lager, aka German Schwarzbier. So they have a little spiel here on the side that really doesn't say anything specifically about the beer and the smoke quality, but it says, cloaked in mystery, this black lager is brewed with traditional old world ingredients and cutting edge lagering techniques. The perfect balance between old and new. So like I said, they don't call this a black smoked beer anywhere on this can. I don't think they changed the recipe or anything. Now, I did enjoy this one back in 2013. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Untappd, and I'm not a huge smoke beer guy, but I will say that this one was really nice, and I think it was because it was kind of a hybrid and the smoke quality wasn't like overboard for me. It was just perfect. So I'm hoping that I like this just as much as back then. And if I do, I should buy this more often. This one's a little bit older, just under 8 months old. But you know, when you pick up beers that, you know, kind of like, this is like a shelfie at this point and kind of like a year-round offering, I believe. You know, you can't always find it super fresh. So whatever, a beer like this, it should hold up. So it pours out kind of like a Dr. Pepper. On camera, it's going to look dark or maybe even pitch black. In person, yeah, that is like a straight up like root beer or like Dr. Pepper. It's not, maybe even cola-like, but I say more like Dr. Pepper. Has just under a 2-finger, I would say that's a very light brown colored head. Pretty creamy, some soap sudsy look to it, but yeah, that looks beautiful. Definitely looks like a black lager to some degree. I would say a very deep dark brown. Get a nose. Yeah, there's a little bit of smoke. But here's the thing, it's not overly done. It just has like, it's just like a nuance, a subtlety to the smoke character. But then underneath it, man, there's chocolate. It's like a we'll say like a dark chocolate, like a 50% cacao bar. There's a little bit of like a bitter and coffee roast, roasted malt in general, molasses, a little bit of like a sulfur note, very slight. Yeah, man. As it opens up though, that what I love is that smoke character isn't becoming more prominent. It's just kind of staying where it is. It's kind of like you would drink a black lager like by a campfire, and you're getting the smoke from the campfire, and it's kind of, you know, getting into your senses, but you're also drinking a beer, so it's like kind of blending together. That's kind of what this aroma is, and I really dig it. This is the level of smoke beer that I really enjoy. When you get a Rauchbier and it's just like punching you in the face with like smoked meats and just like pure on just campfire smoke in addition to that, like it's sometimes overwhelming for me. This is more of like a subtle, nuanced blending together with that black lager. Maybe even a touch of like a dark cherry there. This is really nice. Let us get into it. Cheers, everyone. I love, again, the subtle, nuanced smoke character in here. It's noticeable, but not too big. It's lingering a little bit on the palate, but very, very slight. But you know it's smoked. It's just not stepping in the way of that base black lager feel to it, I meant to say. Body in this is like lower side of medium body, which is appropriate, I think. Maybe a touch thin. I'd say that's appropriate for 5.6% and for what this is supposed to be. The mouthfeel has a nice crispness to it. It's a crispy boy. There's a real smooth quality to this one. The taste though, everything in the nose carries over. First thing you notice is a very subtle smoke character, and it's omnipresent. It's all over the palate, but it's underneath, like dives underneath the tongue, or at least under the rest of the characteristics, propping everything up, being there, and kind of working with a good cohesion with all the rest of the characters. But again, not crossing over to the point where it's unbearable or the predominant note, and you're just like, ugh. It's just working in harmony with everything. But yeah, there's a bittering like baker's chocolate. Maybe like I said, 50, maybe more like a 60, 70% cacao bar in the taste. There's a little bit of like a coffee roast, There's roasted malt in general, a touch of like a molasses, maybe a touch of caramel and toffee, more to the caramel side of things. There's that black cherry kind of hits midway through the palate, and then on the back of the palate, it finishes earthy. Definitely, I would say earthy with maybe a touch of like a floral note, but more earthy than anything. This is semi-dry, mild bitterness, but it's quite balanced, and you get that little bit of lingering smoke quality on the back of the palate as well. 5.6%, you really can't tell. This is really good. Man, I could session this. This is a beer. This is probably the only smoked beer that I could legit session. If you put a 4-pack in front of me, and this is if you watch the channel, you know, health issues over the last couple of years. I don't really session beers anymore, but if I could, if you put a 4-pack in front of me, this is something I could drink over a 2, 3, 4 hour period, and I would be feeling good, but I would also enjoy it, and nothing would get too much for me, because I think there's a great balance here, and that's what I kind of look for in a smoked beer. I want it to be balanced, where a lot of the smoked beers can just be so intense and over the top that it's just not for me. This isn't one of those beers, so I'm really digging this. More so than before. I'm definitely going to give it higher than a 4 out of 5. And again, your mileage may vary on this one specifically, but for me and what I'm looking for out of this beer, I think they did a great job with it. So Smoke Dagger from Jack's Abbey. I'm going to give this we'll go straight 4.25 out of 5. I think that's a fair score for what's in my glass, and I dig it. So price and availability. Wherever you see Jack's Abbey, you should see this. Again, I think it's like one of their year-round regular offerings. And price point, I don't know if this holds true for everybody, but when I was grabbing this can, a 4-pack was like, it's like 8 something, like $8.49 for a 4-pack. So let's just say $9, you know, max for a 4-pack here. That's crazy. Even if it's like 10 to 12 bucks a 4-pack, you're talking, you know, $2.50, $3 a can for something that's a smoked black lager, like all day, every day. So great price point. The availability is pretty wonderful, especially if you can get Jack's Abbey stuff. And I like this one, 5.6%. You really can't tell. Maybe I'm trying to like think of a huge knock on this one. If I did stylistically, if you call this a smoked black lager, if you call it a black lager, it's not a black lager. I mean, it is a black lager, but it's not like the German Schwarzbier. The smoke character's there. But if you went for a smoked black lager, this is like a 4.75 out of 5. Like, it's fantastic. But as is, 4.25 out of 5. Really good score for me, especially considering I don't love smoked beers, and this is one that I can get down with. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Just a damn well-made smoked black lager, or just want to call black lager with a hint of smoke, whatever. It works. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Till the next one. Cheers.